Colorado. I was born in Colorado Springs. My parents divorced when I was 6, and I have a little sister named Maya, and we were both adopted. And I'm a student right now at Auraria campus, and I plan on majoring in business management because I went to a predominantly Caucasian school. So growing up was kind of a search for my identity until I realized, that it's all about experiences that mold who we are. So. I remember my very first incident. Actually, I believe I was probably like 4 years old, and it was on the playground on a weekend. There was a Caucasian male, and both my parents are Caucasian. But I remember he said, "Not all white kids like to play with black kids." That was kind of my realization in the beginning of, oh, there's differences, and not everybody's okay with that. I've always known that, sometimes police, especially in the areas where I was, originally growing up at, officers would see a single black male, but sometimes, we would be harassed for no reason. The worst experience that I've ever had was in 2009. I was pulled over. It was about 1:45 in the morning going east on Colfax. I'm there to pick up a friend. He had been drinking. Didn't want him to drive home. He asks if he can search the car, and I asked him, can I see a warrant before he continued? He didn't respond. I had a friend with me, and he just offered it up. He said, I have a little bit of weed in my pocket. You can have it. And Officer Nixon tries to go for the trunk, and I slowly put my hands out to the side, and I took like maybe 2 steps forward. And I was like, can I see a warrant before you continue? And the officers just immediately got aggressive. I was grabbed at the left. I was grabbed at the right. Officer Randy Murr had me on my left. Tiffany Middleton had me on my right. And Officer Nixon, who was the original contacting officer, looked at me and he said, "You don't have a license." And then he sucker punched me just right in the eye. Right in the eye. And as he didn't even do it just once. Like, he repeatedly started to hit me. And the whole pile of officers, we were right next to the curb. Middleton slips backwards over the curb, bringing us all down because she didn't let me go, So she falls, I fall, Randy Murr comes down on top of me, and then all of a sudden, I'm just getting repeated. I don't even know who's hitting me. I look up and I see Tiffany Middleton hit me in the back. She hit me in the bottom of the eye right here with her radio, which took, all the lacerations in my face took 45 stitches to close. So after she's hitting me, I hear another officer shout, who I later found out was Randy Murr, say that I'm reaching for a pistol. So I have 3 officers on top of me. There's no way I could even move, even if I wanted to, There's all these other officers. I guess more squad cars arrived. They had the streets blocked off. I'm still getting beat up. Randy Moore goes around and takes out Tiffany Middleton's flashlight from her holster and strikes me an unknown number of times in the head with it. He couldn't even recall how many times that he hit me with it. The next thing I know, I'm getting woke up to getting drugged by my ankles and left on the back of a coat in the grass. And I can hear these officers, they're laughing about it. One officer's like, "You don't know how close you were to getting your fucking head blown off." Then another officer's like, "Where's that warrant now, you fucking nigger?" Well, when I was real young, back, 6, 7, 8, 9, I wanted to be a police officer. A lot of people did. A lot of you little kids wanted to do that. And as I grew older, I started having these not necessarily serious run-ins, but just little things, getting pulled over for nothing, getting patted down and harassed and let go. And it's just like, I don't want to be a cop anymore, Because so there are good cops out there, even in the same areas, But at the same time, these people with these negative tendencies, what better way to commit violence acts, what better way to keep the whole community as a whole that you discriminate against down than becoming an officer who never gets prosecuted for shooting people or beating people down or falsifying evidence or documents and falsely charging people. So it just gets worse and worse. And I think, if you don't put a stop to something, it just tends to root, and it's not just a racist thing anymore. You've got officers who are so used to treating members of a certain community that way that they're just doing it to everybody. Now, you don't have to be black, you don't have to be Mexican. You can be that white person just walking down the street, and all of a sudden the officer's not calling you anything derogatory because of your race. He's just treating you like shit because he can, and that's what he's used to doing. I think he just Never be scared. You hear people say, oh, when officers, I get scared and I just I do whatever they say. You can't just do that, because you might as well not have civil rights in the first place, you know? So I feel everybody should exercise their rights to their maximum capacity all the time, as much as they can.